Hello, this is Sarah with Posh Pooch Designs, and today we're going to be doing our last gingerbread crochet pattern for our Christmas in July 2016. But don't worry, I have a bunch more Christmas ideas coming. I've even got some more gingerbread ideas coming, but they won't be for a little while because we're going to start doing some fallish type stuff and some back to school things. We've had so much fun with our Christmas in July patterns. This is our little gingerbread coaster. You can see it can be made several ways. We've got the bow up here. We've got a bow at the bottom that's a green and red variegated, and then this one we put the bow at the very top with some bright colors. So we're going to be making these today. And we're going to be doing them, of course, with our brown worsted weight number 4. You're going to need a little bit of white, worsted weight number 4. And for our colors today, we're going to be using this fun cranberry red and a deeper green, just to make them a little bit different. These are all Red Heart Super Saver. Whoops, my balls roll off. All Red Heart Super Saver worsted weight number 4. They work great. You can also use cotton for this coaster because, of course, cotton is more absorbent. These make great Christmas ornaments and also great gift tags as well. And anything you want to decorate, they're perfect for. You're also going to need, let me move my cup out of the way so I don't knock that over. You're also going to need an H hook, and this is my favorite H hook, the number 4 with the green band on it. You're going to need a needle, weaving in your ends, sewing on your eyes and your bows and things like that. And then, of course, you'll need your scissors. Now, this is a free pattern on my blog, and I will put that blog link in the comments so that you will have that, but this is super easy and super quick and super fun to make. All right. So let's get started. We're going to begin with our gingerbread brown color. And I remembered my yarn bowl, so my yarn doesn't roll off the table, so I'm very excited about that. All right, to get started, we're going to start by chaining 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the first 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, will count as our first double crochet. And we're going to double crochet 9 times in the 4th chain from the hook. And we're going to be making this nice and flat so that you have plenty of room to put your wine glass or your mug of hot cocoa or your coffee. Hot cider is perfect. Or a glass of ice water on your coaster and have it fit just perfect. And we will talk about placing the bow so it's not in the way when we get that far. All right, let's see how many we got. Here's our chain 3. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll do one more. So we have 9 double crochets in our chain 3 that counts as our first double crochet. And we're going to join with the slip stitch to the top of that chain 3, like that. You're going to have your tail on the back side, and then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to place 1 double crochet in the same stitch as that chain 3, and then we're going to put 2 double crochets in each double crochet around. So we had 10 double crochets on row 1, and then row 2 we're going to have 20 double crochets because we're putting 2 double crochets in each double crochet. Sometimes the word double crochet can be a little bit of a tongue twister. All right. Now, I'm making these in the gingerbread brown, and this is Red Heart Super Saver, their medium brown color. But you can do them certainly in any color that you want for fun. You know, you could even do it in pink so that it looks like it has pink icing. Wouldn't that be cute? Your imagination. right, let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6. Let me do that again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There we go. 2, 4, 6. So we need to do 2 more. That would be 8. And then 2 in the last double crochet. 2 times 10 is 20. Someone said the other day they hate math, but they love crochet. And I hate math as well. But I've learned that it's very important if we're going to crochet. So there's our 2 rows. 10 for our first row, 20 for our second row. On our third row, we're going to be doing exactly the same. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, double crochet in the same stitch as your chain 3, and then we're going to double crochet 2 double crochets in each stitch around. And rather than having you watch me do that again, I've got one ready for you here. 10, 20, and because we put 2 in each double crochet around, we have 40 now. So we have 40 double crochets around. And now we're going to change to our white yarn. And I'm going to put my white yarn in my yarn bowl over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go in that loop and add our white yarn. I always tell you, snug those up. And we're going to chain 1, snug that up. And I tell you that because it keeps it from coming out. And then later we'll come back with our needle and weave in these ends. Okay, now to do the trim for the icing, like we have here, this is our white icing, and this would be cute to do in a light pink also. What we're going to do is we're going to single crochet in the first stitch, single crochet in the second stitch, then in the third stitch we're going to single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to slide your hook in the top of that stitch of that chain of that single crochet and through that loop. And I do 2 loops. A lot of times they say just to do the top loop, but I do 2 because it seems to leave a little hole if you don't. Now pull your loop through and then pull it through just like that. So basically what we did is we chained 3 and did a slip stitch in the top of that single crochet. And then we're going to single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and do it again. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to slip stitch just like that, and then do it again. And we're going to do this all around the edge. And I think this makes the best looking little frosting look. Now, I did have a question the other day from one of my testers, and she said, wouldn't it be cute to use a a shell stitch? And I think that would be perfectly, fine. Now you'd have to work out your stitches, and you'd have to, decide how many shells you want to do and all of that, but you certainly can. And that's the neat thing about crochet is you can have a basic pattern, but it's up to you how you want to make it. You can change your colors, change your stitches. I call it creative license because crochet really is an art. To me, every little item up to my big items that I make are art to me. And so a little bit of me goes in every single thing that I make. And that's why Christmas is so much fun to me to make the Christmas items, because to me it's the season of giving. And I love to give away the things that I make. That's why I have a lot of things that I put on my Christmas tree. I actually put up 2 Christmas trees. But on my biggest Christmas tree that we put in the family room, I like to have items that I can give away. That's why I like to make the little stockings or the little mittens or the little sweaters that are open on the bottom that we can slide a little gift card in for fun, or a little piece of chocolate candy, or, I love those tiny little Tootsie Roll Pops. You can put a couple of those in there. You can put Dum-Dums or even any Christmas candy. I try to stay away from peppermints, even though I really like them. A lot of children don't. They think my grandkids think they're hot. They don't care for them. So peppermint can be pretty strong. Although I love candy canes, and I love peppermint, and I love the Christmas peppermint Tootsie Pops that come out at Christmas time. One of my favorite things. Although, cutting back on the sugar. All right, we're almost around. You can see we're getting our icing edge. My goal in making this little gingerbread coaster is I wanted it to look like a little gingerbread cookie. And I was thinking, you know, I have a round cookie cutter. I ought to just make some gingerbread cookies that are round like this and try to decorate them like this. Wouldn't that be so much fun to have at a party? And usually every year we have an ugly sweater party, but I'm thinking this year I might want to have a gingerbread party. You know, I think that would just be so much fun. All right, we're on to our last 1, 2, 3. These are peacocks. I think that's how you pronounce it. And because this is my last one, I'm going to join it to the top of that one. And you can see, whoops. That's the second time those scissors have caught. My husband better not be cutting yarn, speaker wire with those. All right, I'm just going to pull my string to the back, and I'll weave that in later. And so here we have just our basic coaster. Row 1 was 10 double crochets, row 2 was 20, row 3 was 40, and then we didn't add any additional stitches on this one, or increases, and then we did our peacock stitch, and there's your basic coaster. It's really cute, but it needs a face, and so we're going to start with putting on our face. So you're going to need just a tiny bit of black. And I like to do the eyes and the mouth first because it helps me center everything else on here. All right, let's get that in there. Now we're going to make the mouth along the edge between row 2 and 3. And so what you're going to do, make sure when you come up from the bottom that you come up in a stitch, not a hole. So I kind of, can you see where I'm coming through there? You're going to come through there, and then we're going to just make straight stitches until we reach back around over here. So I'm going to just go right in there and then come up there. And I hold that string on the back like that so it doesn't pull out. And then I'll come up farther down. Also, don't pull these stitches too tight. You want them to be nice and not loopy loose, but you want them to be nice and loose so they don't pucker your coaster. And that's what we're doing. We're just going to keep doing those stitches around. And sometimes I'll come up like this and do it like this. Either way is completely fine, whatever you want to do. The last stitch, and as far as the placement of how big you want your smile, that's up to you as well. That one pulled a little tight. See, that's why you don't want to pull them tight. And I kind of give them an eyeball, make sure they're where I want them. Try to make sure this is even with this. And then what I do is I just go right back over it, because that way it makes a nice thick smile. Now the eyes you can do two different ways. You can do a French knot, or you can do little straight stitches. Now I prefer on this one to do the little straight stitches. So I'm gonna keeps getting caught on the back. There we go. So there's my smile. And a lot of times I'll put the straight thing across, but because we're adding little cheeks on here, I'm not going to. All right, now to center the eyes, what I do is you have to be careful because you don't want your eyes to slant in, or she'll or he, whichever style you're making, will look mean. But if you slant them out, they'll look silly. So make sure you get your eyes up and down straight. go in through a stitch, not a hole. And what I do is I just go in and I do 2 straight lines, and then I'll try to center by eyeballing. You can measure if that makes you feel more comfortable. And then I'll do the same thing. There we go. Just making sure you go in a stitch, not a hole between, or it'll slip through and not lay right. And then I'm going to just do a quick loop here just to hold that, and then I'll weave that in a little later so it's not in our way. So there are smiles on. Let's hide our stitches there so we don't see them. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is we need to make our little cheeks. And I'm making them out of this cranberry for this one. So I'm going to set him down over there, put my needle there because we're going to need it in a minute. And the way we make the little cheeks is we chain 3. 1, 2, whoops, 2, 3. And then we're going to put 5 single crochets in the second chain. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to join to that first single crochet and tie off. And give yourself a little bit of yarn. Okay, we're going to need 2 cheeks, so I'm going to do another one so you could see. Chain 3, and then we're going to put 5 single crochets in the second chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And join to the top of that first single crochet and give yourself a little bit of string. Okay, so now we have these 2 silly circles we don't know what to do with. Let me tie that one off. And you'll notice you may have a little hole in the center. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the string that we started with and close up that hole. And I just go across like this. Just kind of close it up a little bit. And then you can tie it off. Just like that. And then you can take your little cheek and you're going to place it right on top of where we put the end of our smile, and you just stitch that down. I'm holding it with my thumb, just going around the outer edge of that circle. And my needle will go in there. There we go. Got stuck. So there we have our smile on. We can weave that in the back. Go ahead and cut that string out of the way. See, there's our one. Let's go ahead and do the other one. Make sure our little hole's closed and tie off. And I just go across. When it's this small, I just go across. And then I just go across the other way. Like that. And just close it up nice and tight. There we go. We'll go one more time just to kind of weave that end in. I'm going to clip that off. Now we're going to sew it in place. Smash it out a little bit, make sure it's nice and round. Kind of eyeball, even it out. and then we're going to sew it in place. You just go around the edges. Like that. And then we'll tie it off back here. Whoops. Get all those strings hidden for you. So now we have our cheeks. Now what else is needed is our bow. And to make our bow, I'm going to use this green, this bright green, this deeper green. I just thought it would be fun to make it just a little bit different. And the way that you make the bow is we're going to chain 8. Let's move him aside. We're going to put the bow at the bottom, but I'll show you how to do it. You want to make sure when you put it on that it's out of the way of the cup. All right, we're going to chain, let me check my notes again, chain 8. 1, 2, 3, whoops, 4, 5, 6. It keeps jumping off my hook. Let's throw that over there in that yarn bowl. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to chain 8. Now, this is for this size bow. Sorry, it's for the smaller bow that I have here. If you want your bow bigger, like this one here, you can see it's a little bit bigger. Like this one is the basic one that is 7 stitches wide because we single crocheted 8 and then we'll have 7 stitches. This one is 10 and then you'll have 9 stitches. Just so that you can tell the difference. The bow is totally up to you how big you want your bow. All right. So we're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook and in each aside. And that's another thing I was talking about, the bow size. Again, that's another thing that gives you an idea that you can do, you know, any crochet pattern that you're doing, you can put your own twist on it and you can make bigger, smaller, you know. You don't have to do it exactly as the pattern is written. That's the fun part about being an artist, I guess. Okay, we chained 1. It does not count as a stitch. And we're going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch across. Whoop. All right, so there's 2 rows of single crochet. We're going to chain 1 and turn. Now, if you want your bow thicker, you can do 4 rows of single crochet, but for the small bow, we're doing 3. And I'll have that in, it's on the pattern as well, how to do the bow in 2 different sizes. So, because it just depends on what you're doing. You know, if it's a Christmas tree ornament and it doesn't matter that the bow's a little lower, you know, or a little higher on here where it's not going to be in the way of a glass or cup, that's totally fine. But if it's going to be used as a coaster, you want to make sure your bow's not too big and it stays out of the way. All right, we're going to cut off a piece that's about 12 inches because we're going to use this piece to make the bow and to sew it on. Okay, so we're going to chain 1 and turn. Now, this bow is 7 stitches, so we're going to slip stitch in the first 4 stitches only. 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to tie off. Now, we're going to take our needle and this short piece, there we go. We're just going to weave it in so it's out of the way. Just go like this. Make sure you get through a couple of stitches and cut that off. All right, now to make the bow, you're going to pinch it in a little bit and then take your piece that we just cut off and wind it around a few times. And you may have to finagle it a little to make sure that the center is even. You want it to be nice and even. Pull it a little bit tight, and then decide which side you want to be the front or your back. Put your needle on. And we're using this as our back. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through here, just like that. Just wrap it around there once or twice, and this just keeps the bow from unwinding that center. And then there's your bow. Now, when you use this as a coaster, you want to make sure that the bow doesn't interfere with where the cup's going to sit. And so you want to make sure you put your bow low enough or high enough where it isn't an issue. And we're going to put this one at the bottom. And what I do is I try to put it in this row of this white. And the way you do it is you just set it there. And you're going to go down in that row like that. And then you're going to come up under like that. And just go right in the center of that bow. And you'll do that a couple of times. You don't have to sew the sides of the bow down. You just need to sew the center so it stays put. And it will be hard. It's thick. See? Yeah, a little bit thick, but that's okay. You want it to be thick and you want it to stay put. Okay, and now I'm going to turn it over and I'm just going to weave in that end a little bit right there. I'll cut that off. I'm just going to fold those over there so we don't see them, because I need to weave those ends in the back. And here's our bow. Plenty of room for our cup. And that's how you make the gingerbread coaster. So there's the one we just made. Here's one in some nice bright colors. Here's one I did a red and green variegated. And here's one I just did in red. So you have lots of choices of how you can make it. And like I said, you can even do it with pink. You can even do it with pink icing. You can make the cookie pink, however you want to do it. But that's how we make our gingerbread cookie coaster. Well, thank you for watching my video today, and I hope you'll give me a good thumbs up. And please take a moment and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Merry Christmas in July.